Hey there, it's John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to this special edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. This is our picks of the month for May, where we talk about some cards that are either undervalued, or maybe they're cards that are still overvalued, but they probably will continue to climb over the next 6 months to a year or so, at least until they get reprinted again. Now, if you watched the April video, you know we kind of focused on a lot of standard set release stuff. Today we're going to talk about some master sets. In particular, the two master sets that came out over the course of the last year, and that's Modern Masters 2017 and Eternal Masters. There's actually still a lot of good deals to be found in singles from those sets, so we're going to focus in on those, and maybe you can pick up some cards that you either put on the back burner or forgot about before the price goes up any higher than it currently is. Now, as always, if you are a Patreon Gold member, you're catching this video a few days before everybody else. This video is recorded on Tuesday. If you are not a Patreon Gold member, you probably will be catching it a little bit later in the week, but I do want to point that out just for the prices, just in case there are some price fluxes between now and then. I don't expect anything big, but sometimes there's small ones. Also, if you are interested in picking up any of these cards, check out the description below to a link to our Amazon affiliate store. You'll find our Picks of the Month tab in the store. From there, you'll find all the cards we talk about today, and any purchases you make, as always, a small percentage will come back to help support the channel. It really goes a long way. So let's get into the cards. We're going to start off with some Modern Masters 2017 uncommons. 4 key uncommons here. First, Path to Exile, right now valued at $6.91. This card maybe didn't come down as low as a lot of people would have hoped, considering it was an uncommon, but let's face it, the demand for this card is huge. It's a staple not only in Modern, but other formats as well, like Legacy, and I just don't see it going down any lower at this point until, again, it gets another reprint sometime in the future. But one thing this card, as well as most of the cards we're going to look at today, have in common, there's not a lot of great opportunities to reprint them. Path to Exile, if you can find these for $6, $7, I pick them up. Serum Visions, $2, great control card in Modern, one of the key staples for any deck that's running blue and trying to sift through their deck. Inquisition of Kozilek, we got the reprint this time as an uncommon and not a rare, like in Conspiracy 2. That was nice. Brought the value down to $3.94. That's actually a pretty big decrease, and it's a great time to pick this up. Again, black and green, especially right now in Modern, are very popular and strong colors. A lot of decks are running Inquisition. Might of Old Krosa, $1.35. Now, this card doesn't see as much broad play, but in the decks that it's in, it's very, very good. And it doesn't see a lot of reprints either. This is the first time it ever got reprinted. It was originally from Time Spiral. It was a $10 uncommon by the time they reprinted it here. So $1.35 I think is a great deal. Fetch lands. Now, in the last video in April, we talked about the Khan's fetch lands. Those are still good pickups if you haven't picked those up yet. Today, we're going to talk about the Modern Masters 2017 enemy colored fetch lands. And I hate to say this, I said this maybe about a month ago in the Market Watch or so, but the value of these kind of stabilized and started to climb again. I kind of hope you picked them up maybe a month ago, but if you still haven't picked them up, the trend is continuing. It's not really fast, but these cards are at least slowly increasing week to week, every single week now. So, again, the question is, when will we see a reprint? I mean, we will. I just think it's going to be a pretty long time at this point. And by the time that happens, values could be extremely high again. Not to say these aren't already extremely high for some of them. But Arid Mesa, $29.95. Marsh Flats, $28.28. Misty Rainforest, $33.97. Scalding Tarnet, still at $52.55. I mean, it came down a lot, but still. And Verdict Catacombs, $45.93. Basically, this is like the sale price. You can pick these up now on sale because Modern Masters 2017 just came out recently, but this sale price isn't going to last. It's going to slowly, over time, start to get higher and higher. So if you need these and you're planning on playing them in any Modern decks or really anywhere that could include Legacy, Commander, what have you, over the next year or 2 years, you may have to bite the bullet and try to pick them up at these price points. Alright, let's talk about some mythics and rare one-offs from Modern Masters 2017 that I think are some pretty good cards to pick up. First one, Stony Silence. Very affordable now at $3.99. This is a card that lost a lot of value from the reprint at rare. It's got great new art, and it's an awesome sideboard card in Modern. It's going to continue to see play for some time to come. Damnation. $20.99. Now, remember when this was a $50, $60 card not too long ago, right, for that planar Chaos version? Well, Reprinting this at Rare helped a lot, $20.99, but the thing with this card is it's still seeing a lot of modern play recently, especially, again, black is a very dominant color and just in general, even if it's not just one archetype or anything like that. But Damnation, very popular card, and it's going to continue to go up. Also a very popular casual card. Death Shadow, $8 I think is actually a decent deal. This has come up quite a bit recently over the last few months. Again, there's a lot of attention on this deck. I don't think it's really crossed over into the point where it is dominating or too dominant in the format, but this is definitely a deck to watch to make sure it doesn't get to that point. But having said that, Death Shadow at $8, if you're planning on playing that deck over the next year or so, I think this is a decent price point for the card. Liliana of the Vale, $84.12. Okay, so much like the fetch lands, it kind of pains me to say this, but I just don't think the price point's going to get any better. She might see a reprint in a couple years in the next Modern Masters set or something like that. But at this point, if you're thinking about playing her in a deck in Modern or Legacy or what have you over the course of the next year or two, I don't think it's going to get much better than $84.12. You could probably find this card maybe around $80 in some big marketplaces, maybe even a little cheaper. But for the most part, I think we're kind of at the point where this card's going to keep going up rather aggressively. I mean, it's gone up $3 to $4 over the course of the last week. I think it's going to quickly catch up with its Innistrad counterpart. Blood Moon, $19.99. Again, not the most amazing price point to pick up a card at by any means, but another card that lost a lot of value with this reprint, and it is a format-defining staple, and that's not going to change. Scavenging Ooze. Okay, this is a little better. $2.51. You can pick up a playset of these now relatively cheap. That's kind of nice. And this is a great card. I mean, Scavenging Ooze is an awesome sideboard card in Modern, but it's also just a very efficient creature. It's great in other formats, too. This is a really good pickup. Now we have another high-value card with Tarmogoyf at $88.99. And if you wanted to pick up Tarmogoyfs prior to the Modern Masters 2017 version coming out, they're going to run you at least in the low 100s. Currently, since this one came out, it did help the price go down a little bit. You can get a Modern Masters 2015 version as of Saturday for $99.99. That's not too bad considering where it was. This one a few weeks back was an $80 card, and now it's all the way up to almost $90. I have no doubt that within the next few months, this is going to at least rise to meet up with the Modern Masters 2015 counterpart at around $100. There's just no getting around it. Even though this card has been reprinted yet again, unfortunately it was at the Mythic spot, and the demand is just so high for this card. Next we have Abrupt Decay at $4.64, much more affordable. Now, this card had kind of a high print run. It was in Return to Ravnica, which was printed basically into oblivion. And then, of course, they got the reprint of Modern Masters 2017 as a rare card. So there's a lot out there. However, there's still a strong demand for this card as he's playing a lot of places. It's definitely in the right colors for the world of Modern right now. Voice of Resurgence at $12.75. Now, this one was a mythic, but a lot of value from the original version was lost once this one came out. So picking up a voice for $12.75 actually feels pretty good to me, considering it was at $20, $25, even up to $30 not too long ago. So if I can find these for $10, $15, yeah, I think it's a pretty good pickup. Grafdigger's Cage at $3.31. This isn't a card you're going to see printed all the time. It needs to be in a certain limited environment. And it's a great sideboard card. So again, if you can get these cheap, $2, $3, maybe $4 at most, pick up a playset, you just have them if you ever need them. Cavern of Souls at $41.88. Okay, another one of the high value ones. But you have to kind of think back to where the original version of this card was just a few months ago, right? You're looking at least $50 for the card. So unfortunately, they chose to reprint this at Mythic. It did help a little bit with the price point. Not a whole lot, but I don't think it's going to get much better. One thing you want to consider too, when you look at the 3 Modern Masters sets, each set has a strong focus on certain mechanics in certain sets. And once they got past the first one, the strong focus on the second and third set was the sets that they added to Modern Masters for the first time. And they left a lot of stuff behind. You don't see frequent reprints follow from one Modern Masters to another. There's a few, like Tarmogoyf, for example, of course, but for the most part, they're always trying to do something new, and they're always trying to focus in on the new sets they're bringing into the fold. So because of that, it makes it difficult for them to reprint cards like maybe Cavern of Souls again next time. It's kind of like we didn't see, for example, the Eldrazi Titans again, because there was a strong Eldrazi focus in Modern Masters 2015, and probably we won't see that again in another Modern Masters, at least not for a long time. Alright, let's move on to some Eternal Masters cards. We're going to start off with some of the key uncommons. 3 actually very good values here. Swords to Plowshares for $1.99. Great removal. Probably one of the best removal spells ever printed. Days at $1.42. Amazing card for Legacy when it comes to counter magic and control decks. And finally, Chain Lightning at $3.19. A little more expensive than the other two, but again, another universally used burn spell. Alright, let's look at some of the rares and mythics that are worth noting. We're going to start off with Entomb at $11.65. A card that sees a lot of play in Legacy, even Vintage, Commander, Cubes. A lot of the cards in Eternal Masters are amazing cube cards. So if you're ever thinking of assembling a cube, you can find some good deals in this set. Entomb for $10, $12 is probably one of them. Sinkhole for $4.65. Sinkhole is just one of those cards that Wizards doesn't like to touch because it's just such efficient land removal. And it deals with some problematic lands, but it can also be used as a full-on just land destruction deck. But $4.65, this is a card that's probably not going to see a whole lot of reprints anytime soon. So I think it's actually a pretty good price point. Vampiric Tutor, $28.99. This card always blows my mind as to how expensive it's become over time. And it does see vintage play, obviously, but I think the big driver for the price point are formats like Commander or more casual formats or even Cubes. So $28.99 is not a great price point, but again, it's not a card that sees frequent reprints. So I do feel like it's a decent price point if you're thinking of picking it up. Sneak Attack, $19.99. Now, the Legacy format I think is going to change quite significantly with the banning of Top, which is going to nerf the Miracles decks, open the field up to some different things. Some of the Sneak and Show style decks may make a comeback there. Not to mention the fact that Vengeance decks, some of them run Sneak Attack in Modern, are still very popular. So $19.99 for this card I think is actually a real good price. Natural Order, $14.45. Talk about another classic like cube card. This card has a lot of power behind it, and again, it doesn't see a lot of opportunity to be reprinted. Sylvan Library. Can't believe this is down to $15. That's actually pretty awesome. This card was much higher than that before it got the reprint in Eternal Masters as a rare. Another fantastic card for Commander Cubes. Dak Faden. Now here's one of the cards that's maybe more of a vintage card, but for $13.79, it's a very popular vintage card, not to mention the casual play that this card sees. And again, it's not a card that you have an opportunity to reprint too often. Maybe another master set someday, but more than likely some other sort of kind of side product like a Commander deck or something like that. But we just don't know when that's going to happen. So I think $10, $15 for Dak, I think is pretty fair right now. Mana Crypt. This one's a little more expensive at $59.99, and one thing I do want to point out is players don't really need more than one copy of this. It's a card that's restricted in Vintage. Commander, you can play it, but obviously you're only going to play one of them if you play it. So it's not something that is going to probably skyrocket in price off this $60 price point or anything like that. But again, it's a card that doesn't have a lot of opportunity for reprints, so I do think over time it could climb, especially if it gets reprinted in the future with different art and people happen to like this art or what have you, or maybe they like this foil or something like that. So it's something that I think will just continue to grow slowly over time. But if I'm a Commander player and I don't have my copy of it yet, I think $60 is something that's probably worth just saving up for and biting the bullet on. Next is Krakus, another kind of expensive card at $41.93, but this was almost $100 when it got reprinted at the Mythic level. So this is a big sale price right now for this card. Now, it is a card that is banned in Commander, so you can't play it there, but it is good in a lot of Eternal formats. It's good in Cubes if you have a legendary component to your cube. Maze of Ith at $9. That's amazing to me because there were times in this card's history it was a $30 to $50 card. There was a time that this card was actually on the restricted list if you go way back. But it's an awesome card. Fantastic in Commander. Great cube card again. Does see a little bit of play in some of the other competitive formats here and there, sometimes as a one-up. But it's a really awesome card. I love the art on this particular version as well. This one feels like a steal to me at $9. Wasteland, a little more expensive now, $27.85. But again, Wasteland is just such a huge component for Legacy, not to mention many, many other formats. I think if you can find these for $20 to $25, and I think that's possible, there's still very good pickups at that price. Well, having said that, I hope this video is some use to you. I do feel like it's very difficult at times to kind of wrap your head around the pricing and what's going on in all the different formats and what have you. So if you're interested in any of the cards you saw today, basically, it might be a good time to pick these up. Some of them we looked at weren't necessarily cheap, and they're definitely not going to be cards that are going to make you any money in the long term. As a matter of fact, I'd recommend, if you're ever thinking of speculating on cards, I really probably wouldn't speculate on anything that wasn't a reserve list card. All of the cards we talked about today could be reprinted by Wizards at any time, and you never know what they're going to do. They've done some crazy things over the course of the last year, so who knows what next year is going to bring with the 25th anniversary of Magic and all that. But what this video really is for is if you wanted to pick up some of these cards for a deck, your Commander deck, or maybe build a new Modern deck or something like that, and you put it off and it's on the back burner. Well, this video is a reminder to say, you know what? It's a good time to pick that particular card up. The price point's pretty decent. So I hope that's helpful to everybody. Until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.